Have you ever felt like the world is just too loud? People rushing, news non-stop, emails, texts, deadlines, and somewhere deep inside, all you really want is peace. Not just silence, but that kind of deep, still peace that nothing outside you can touch. Today, I want to share with you 3 Buddhist stories that have the power to change your life. Stories that have transformed the way I live and the way many of my students, from ages 24 to 70, have found deep peace. Let's begin with a broken glass. Story 1. The already broken glass. A well-known Thai monk once said something strange. He held up a glass and said, "I always drink from a glass that's already broken." His students were puzzled. "But your glass is perfectly fine." He smiled and said, "Yes, for now. But one day this glass will fall or crack or slip from my hand, and when it does, I won't be surprised. I won't suffer, because in my heart, I already know. This glass was never mine to keep." You see, once you realize that everything you love, your health, your job, even the people in your life, will one day change or fade or leave, instead of clinging tighter, you actually start to live deeper. You appreciate more. I once worked with a woman in her 60s from Boston. She'd been angry at her father for over 30 years because he abandoned their family. After hearing this story, she cried hard. And then she said, "I spent decades holding on to resentment, but I forgot to remember that for a while he was there. And we did have good moments." Eventually, she went to see him, not to blame him, but to say, "I forgive you." That's the power of knowing the glass is already broken. It teaches you to love what's here while it's here. Story 2. The gift you don't accept. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone insult you, criticize you, push your buttons, and you just couldn't let it go? You carried it for hours, even days? There's a famous story where the Buddha was publicly insulted by a man, loudly, harshly. But the Buddha didn't react. He just smiled gently and asked, "Let me ask you something. If someone offers a gift but the person doesn't accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The man was confused. "Well, I guess it still belongs to the giver." The Buddha said, "Exactly. I choose not to accept your anger, so it remains with you." Now imagine living your life that way. What if you didn't have to receive every rude comment, every angry tweet, every look of disapproval? You don't have to carry what's not yours. One of my students, a man in his 40s, a teacher from New York, once said, "When I realized I could simply not accept what people throw at me, I felt powerful. For the first time, I felt free." You see, peace isn't just about sitting in a quiet room with candles. It's about knowing what to let in and what to leave out. That's a practice, and it takes courage. Story 3. The mustard seed. This next story is one of the most touching in all of Buddhist tradition. A grieving man came to the Buddha in despair. His only son had died suddenly and he couldn't accept it. He begged the Buddha, "Please, bring him back. You have power. Do something." The Buddha said, "I will help you. But first, bring me a mustard seed from a house that has never known death." The man rushed out, full of hope. But every home he visited, someone had died. A mother, a child, a brother, a friend. There wasn't a single house untouched by loss. And as he went from home to home, his eyes began to open. He realized he wasn't alone in his grief. He wasn't being punished. He was human, just like everyone else. He returned to the Buddha, not asking for his son to live again, but asking to learn how to let go. When I work with people who've lost someone, especially older adults, I always share this story, because it shifts something deep. One woman I worked with in California lost both her parents in the same year. She was drowning in sorrow. I asked her, "What helped you begin to heal?" She said, "When I realized that grief connects me to others, not separates me, something changed. I stopped resisting the pain. I let it move through me. And that's when healing began." You see, sometimes peace doesn't come from escaping pain. It comes from understanding it and realizing we're never alone in it. You may not remember every story I've shared today, but if there's one thing I hope you carry with you, it's this. Peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from releasing what can't be controlled and fully living what's still in your hands. The broken glass, the gift you don't accept, the mustard seed. These are not just ancient tales. They're mirrors. They show us who we are and who we can become. I've shared these stories with thousands of people, young professionals, retired nurses, single moms, veterans, and every time someone hears exactly what they needed to hear. Maybe today, that someone is you. So let me ask you, which story spoke to you the most? Take a moment, breathe, feel the lesson that wants to land. And if you're comfortable, I invite you to share it in the comments below. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if you'd like more stories like these, more calm, more reflection, more reminders of the quiet truth inside you, hit subscribe. I'd love to walk this path with you, one peaceful step at a time. Until then, be well. And may you find peace, not far away, but in this very moment.